Next on Worcester News tonight, Auburn police investigating a defect on their cruisers after an officer passes out behind the wheel. Plus, severe weather leaves its mark in Worcester after strong storms rumble through. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Catherine Andrioli. A definitive site plan for the development of the Notre Dame des Canadiens church site goes before the city's planning board tonight. Rosalind A. Mack-Cali Company filed the application to build a residential retail development space. They gave an in-depth presentation tonight, which includes plans to demolish the historic church. 84 apartments and more than 2,000 square feet of retail space are proposed for the Notre Dame des Canadiens church site. A demolition delay ordinance expired in April, and Preservation Worcester has been pushing to save the church from the wrecking ball. The plan presented tonight by developers includes a 4-story parking garage and a swimming pool. They say significant time and money has been spent on the church, and the building is not structurally safe.
Since its shuttering, the church has fallen into a state of significant disrepair and now poses a safety issue. As you can see, scaffolding and netting has been placed around the church to prevent it from falling and damaging other buildings.
Supporters of the church were in attendance tonight. They say this building is an iconic part of Worcester's French-Canadian history, and they believe the building should be refurbished rather than demolished.
Which used to be like an auditorium, would make a great mid-sized supermarket. And above, we proposed restaurants, perhaps a brew pub. You've got great height in the building, which would lend itself to a microbrewery type of project. I could see it hosting a farmer's market, craft shops, restaurants.
In a statement, City Square 2 says they bought the property in 2010 and had a goal of reusing the church building. But after years of efforts and discussions with architects and developers, reusing the church proved to not be economically viable. In Auburn, a police officer passes out behind the wheel, rear-ending another car at a stop sign. Police say high levels of carbon monoxide inside the cruiser are to blame. And so far, 3 officers have been treated. 1 is still in the hospital tonight. Karen Hensel has the latest details.
This is the Auburn police cruiser involved in the accident Wednesday morning. The officer passing out right before rear-ending another car.
It's very scary. We hadn't had any issues until today. We hadn't had anyone experience any signs or symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning. But this morning, when the fire department tested the levels inside of his cruiser, they were in fact elevated.
Auburn Police Chief Andy Slukas made the move to test other officers. A 3rd hospitalized within the last hour. Sky Ranger overhead as the Auburn Fire Department tested all the cars for carbon monoxide. 10 cruisers, a deputy fire chief's car, and a DPW car, all now pulled from service. Ford has said it's an issue only on the police cruisers retrofitted with lights and other gear. Safety expert Sean Kane says not true.
Well, I think anybody who's going to explore needs to pay attention, certainly, to the problem.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is looking into the issue that covers more than 1.3 million explorers from 2011 to 2017. The investigation prompted a year ago by nearly 3,000 complaints of exhaust odors and potentially carbon monoxide. He's been fighting for a year for public documents not in the file.
Given the high-profile nature of this issue, the number of vehicles that are affected, and what's happening, it's highly unusual to see that kind of silence.
Ford issued a statement to NBC Boston investigators. Safety is our top priority, and we are concerned for those involved. We are working with the Auburn Police Department and have a team in Massachusetts on the way to inspect their vehicles and modifications made to them.
Ford should have done something years ago to resolve this problem. Now they're in a position where they've got a lot more vehicles on the road, and they've got a much bigger problem on their hands.
Auburn police do plan on installing carbon monoxide detectors inside the cars. It was supposed to happen by tomorrow, but we've learned it could take as long as 2 weeks. The chief says engineers from Ford will be at the station tomorrow to further investigate. After a successful year, Powwow Worcester announces a return to the city later this month. The art festival saw numerous murals painted across the city, and there are even more planned for 2017. Our Cam Jandro has the story.
For the second consecutive year, the city is set to get a makeover with Powwow Worcester's return. Artists from across the world, including 32 here from Worcester, are expected to take part in the 10-day festival later this month.
Yes, in our second year, our focus is a little bit different this year. Last year was great. This year we're trying to make it a little bit more about the community, and in that we're doing a school in each quadrant, as well as the entirety of Elm Park Community School. And there's another 15 walls that we're going to be doing.
Last year's festival drew more than 10,000 visitors to the city, and estimates are even higher for 2017. This year, the festival's premier sponsor is the Worcester Railers. The hockey club says they're excited for the opportunity to collaborate with Powwow.
You know, it was really fun walking around, seeing all the different murals go up in the city and seeing the foot traffic and seeing people go take photos of them and really get the community involved. And that's what we're all about here at the Railers. We try to find partnerships that are really community focused and based on that.
29 murals are expected to be painted throughout Worcester, with the largest planned for the back wall of the new Fidelity Bank Worcester Ice Center. Organizers of the event are excited to see what Powwow Worcester can bring to the city in 2017.
The Railers are adding a huge amount of momentum to Worcester right now. There's a lot going on. We're excited to be a part of it and join forces and potentially push Worcester even further together.
Now, there's still no word what will be painted on the back of the new Fidelity Bank Worcester Ice Center. Powwow Worcester says we just have to wait and see when it returns to the city on August 25th. Catherine?
Turning now to the weather, thunderstorms rolling through central Massachusetts this afternoon, and it was a rough ride on 290 in Worcester around 3 p.m. As you can see, spots of flash flooding and hail hit the area. One viewer sent in this video to show just how bad the driving conditions were. A flash flood watch was in effect earlier tonight. We'll have more on the forecast later on in the show. And that wild weather hitting home here in Worcester. Students and staff at WPI got a first-hand glimpse of the storm's power as a lightning strike sent bricks and debris flying. Michael Rosenfeld has the story.
A lightning strike on the campus of WPI, a bolt hitting a chimney on top of a dorm. That sent bricks flying across a walkway, with one of the bricks smashing through the admissions office. Nobody was hurt either on the pathway or inside the building. A repair crew already on site to shore up the chimney to make sure there's no more flying debris.
We secured it with a ratchet strap that's up there right now. We noticed a brick that went over there, hit that window. So we brought the boom lift up here, secured the chimney, and tomorrow we'll be taking the chimney down.
The strong storms today leaving their mark. A tree toppled over in Bolton, bringing down lines, which then snapped a utility pole near Sugar and Coventry Wood roads. In Stowe, there was minor flooding on Route 117 at the Stowe Shopping Center. And in places like Medway near Choate Park and Worcester, drivers were navigating through torrential rain.
On the drive home, I took a shortcut, and it almost turned into one of my last shortcuts, as there's about 5 inches of water, and my car isn't too big, and I barely made it through.
Lightning could be seen in several communities as the strong storms rolled through. Back at WPI, the downpours kept people inside. One of the reasons nobody got hurt by all the bricks that went sailing through the air from the lightning strike.
It was really bad. It was like raining like cats and dogs. And like I come from like the tropics, and like it really rained hard. Like I never imagined it would be raining that hard over here.
Michael Rosenfield, Worcester News Tonight.
Trees infested with the Asian longhorned beetle are decreasing in the area, but USDA crews say they're still out watching the pest. The insect was first found in the Burncoat area in 2008, and since then, central Massachusetts has lost more than 35,000 trees. Brittany Schaefer was out with crews today surveying the woods in Boylston and has the details.
The Asian longhorn beetle isn't being found as often in central Mass, but crews discovered new infestations in Boylston. The USDA says the pest is to blame for 54 infested trees in the area this year.
Predominantly up here in the northeast of our regulated area, and as we go forward through this program, I anticipate finding additional infested trees, but nowhere near what we had found in early 2008, late 2009.
Ryan Vasquez is the manager of the ALB eradication program. He says crews are out surveying Worcester County daily to keep the dangerous insect from spreading.
The reason that we exist and why we're here to eradicate it is because it is so destructive and can cause significant damage to not only Massachusetts but New England and the Northeast forest, as it feeds on 12 different types of trees. The damage that can be caused by this beetle is pretty grave to the tree, as it will kill the tree. It pretty much eats that tree from the inside out.
If it's a suspicious tree, we'll have the tree climbers come out and they get the same data that we have in here. We fill out this form, we take pictures of it, we put in all the information that we need and that they need to be able to find the tree.
Now, maple trees like this one are the most popular among the Asian longhorn beetle. One way to tell if you think a tree is infested is to look for an exit hole like this one and put a stick through it. If it sits at a 90-degree angle, you could have an infestation.
And if you do find any signs or symptoms, I encourage you to report that to AsianLonghornBeetle.com. You can fill out an online form and we'll get back to you in a day or two. We'll come out and assess your trees.
August is National Tree Check Month. Vasquez says the timing is perfect for Asian longhorn beetle exposure.
August is going to be their peak season for emergence. This is when they've reached their threshold or their maximum threshold for development, and this is when they're going to be emerging mostly and feeding upon these trees and laying eggs in them.
Brittany Schaefer, Worcester.